Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside Fleet's 2025 East China Sea. This is a game from Victory Point Games and it is designed by Chris Taylor. This is the bag that it comes in, and there's a reason why I did not show you the unbagging part because it's fairly tight fit. So did not want to show you that. That was just kind of a waste. But inside that little bag, because it's a small baggie, you can't miss out on these. These are two little D6, and by way of comparison, we're going to put, I'm going to show you here. I love these little D6. Here's that little one, and there is a standard size D6. So teeny tiny little dice. Don't lose them if you get the bag version. I'm going to put them back inside the bag now, but let's take a look and see what Fleet's 2025 East China Sea is all about. It says here, Fleet Series number 1. With the sailing of Fleet's 2025 East China Sea, Victory Point Games launches you on a Chris Taylor-designed blue water adventure of high-stakes political poker centered on daring air and naval engagements between the modern fleets of the United States and China as the Taiwanese flashpoint of the East China Sea ignites into a crisis on the brink of spinning out of control. Here, player nerve and skill are required to hunt the opposing forces and inflict sufficient military damage to break their political will and get them to blink first and back down. In this low to moderately complexity war game, the great concerns of modern naval warfare are handled with fine design elegance to highlight the asymmetrical forces, systems, and tactics used by both sides through the lethality of modern weaponry. With deep strategic puzzles and wild military and political action simulated by the simple use of fast action card play and lots of dice, Fleet's 2025 East China Sea is a nautical thrill ride through tomorrow's headlines for budding admirals. And it says here the game components, you get a 5 pages of color rules, basic and admiral level, 2-page color example of play, 1 page of notes, 1 page of scenarios, 80 color die-cut 5-inch two-sided game pieces, 60 activity cards, 1 11 by 17-inch color game map, and 2 player age sheets. It is for 2 players ages 12 and up. Game takes approximately 1 hour. Complexity is 4, and the solitaire suitability is very low at 1.5. The scale is each unit is 1 to 2 major ships and escorts, or 1 to 3 squadrons and planes. Each turn is half a day, and that is some example of some of the counters that you'll see here in this. These inserts are also, this one here is a little bit of a sales thing for Victory Point for Israeli Independence and Ancient Battles Deluxe. And then this one gives you the bonus full campaign scenario. So don't just ignore these or cast them aside. You're going to want to keep them. And here's another little insert for some Victory Point games. We have our cards, baggie here for your counters. And then we've got the counters themselves, and these you have to be careful with. This is the older Victory Point Games counters for the baggy series, and these they can kind of tear a little easy. As you're seeing here, these little pieces start to tear where the seam was cut in the die cut. But be careful with them when you punch them out. They're very serviceable and they work really well. It's just that when you're punching them, be careful not to just yank on any of those loose pieces of paper, because you could actually do damage to the counter. So that's something to bear in mind. You've got your US forces, your Chinese forces, and then you have some damage markers and other administrative counters there. We've got some subs, we've got F-35s, we've got some naval vessels, surface fleet, naval vessels here, and the same for the Chinese. We've got surface fleet, we've got aircraft, and we have subsurface, and we've also got a couple of helicopters as well. And the B-2 bomber is down here for the United States. So that is the list of counters that you get, and here is the map. This is a very small footprint type of game, easily can get on the table and play with 2 people. You're not going to generally want to play it solitaire for the simple fact that, like I pointed out a moment ago, this game uses cards, and these are the action cards you're going to want to use. It says here, local reinforcements, red player only. Lose 1 political will and return up to 3 units, excluding CVs, from your political will track. These return units are placed as reinforcements. Aircraft units may be placed at either a friendly airbase or carrier as appropriate. And the K-29 replacements, those helos, you return up to 2 K-29 air units from your political will track to a friendly airbase. So political will, that's kind of like the commerce here. You're going to lose political will to gain units back. So you've got to make the choice on what is, how much you're willing to lose political will-wise to get forces back on the table. But Yeah, you may lose one, but if you don't get those forces back out to project power, you may lose more than just the one. So that's the fun part about having the card play like that. These are the player mats for each player, and we've got the United States first, has sequence of play, your political will track, your reinforcements, and then different carriers down here, which aircraft are on different carriers. And then for the Chinese, same thing, you've got your sequence of play, your reinforcements. The US only has 2 reinforcements, whereas the Chinese have 4. And then you've got your political will track and the 2 carriers with your 3 air units that are on those. And then we've got our rule book here and then the scenario sheet here. But the rule book goes only to page 8, like it said, at the back of the bag, I guess you could say. This is a full color rule book, just a simple paper rule book that you can read, and it gives you the sequence play movement, your action phase, everything that you can do, and then anything that's important is called out in red. And then you've got how to use stealth, political will, how to apply hits, and then you have your example of play. So the rules themselves really truly only go to page 6, because that's generally the end of the rules is page 5. I'm incorrect there. So page 5, then you have your admiral level rules here on the right hand side of page 5. You've got your gameplay example here for a couple of pages, and then the designer's notes on the back of the game, and then you have your scenario sheet that gives you a training exercise, first strike, Tempest Rising is the 3rd scenario, and those are the 3 scenarios, and then you have the full campaign scenario as well on the inside of the cover sheet. So don't forget that if you buy this game. But that is a quick look inside of Fleets 2025 East China Sea. This is a game from Victory Point Games, designed by Chris Taylor. This has been out a while, and I just recently got hold of it. It's one I've kind of been thinking about for a while, and with the East China Sea situation currently in still a hot point, this is definitely a pretty relevant game to play right now. And it looks low to moderate complexity, so these games from Victory Point Games are very easy to get to the table and teach someone and bang out a couple games in a couple of hours, which is what I've always enjoyed about Victory Point Games war games. So that is a look at Fleets 2025 East China Sea from Victory Point Games. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.